Davis. I'm our COO here at Technology Advancement Center. So excited to have you all here for our second Defend the Airport Critical Infrastructure Collaborative event. Without further ado, I would love to kick our day off. We are thrilled to have our keynote speaker, Dr. Wanda Jones-Heath, Principal Cyber Advisor for the Department of the Air Force. Dr. Jones-Heath, welcome.
I think I have a mobile mic and everything, but good morning. Certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk about what we're doing for the Department of Air Force. Thank you to the TAC team and the leadership for the invite to kick this off, Defend the Airport 2. So over the last 2 years, I've witnessed a huge shift, a shift in the mindset of what we believe is the right thing to do as it relates to this community. Operational technology has always been left behind. When I first started in this job, I actually called it the left behind community because we focus so much on OT. Now the shift mindset is happening because we realize that the adversary is attacking us every chance they get. We realize also that IT outages is about email. OT outages is about mission. We cannot do our mission without water, without power. Being able to survive a breach in this community is devastating. If we can't recover, if we can't reconstitute our connectivity through our HVAC systems, our suppression fire systems, it can mean that we can't get a bird even out of the hangar. So we realize now, and we see from day in and day out, they are attacking us every chance they get. We understand that when we develop our systems, we're talking about systems that have been developed years and years ago. How do you modernize something that is this big in magnitude? You can't, right? But we have to understand, what does it mean when a breach happens to a HVAC system? What happens when a breach happens to something that is outside of the wire? So if you haven't read the National Cyber Strategy, it's very clear that operational technology is huge. Defense critical infrastructure is huge. And the DOW report to the SecWar, he stood up an entire task force. That's the mindset that I'm talking about have shifted, because we realize that we have to do something. If you're not tracking the effort with SecWar and CISA, the partnerships that they've bridged together to understand what the bases need from our community partners when it comes to utilities, water, and those types of services. Now, last year, I talked about our goals. At the end of the day, it's really about how resilient are our systems. Are we defending our control systems? Those goals have not changed. We want to make sure that we can identify and assess our mission critical OT and infrastructure. Now, what you will see beside each of the goals is my assessment of our progress or lack thereof. I say that we're yellow here because we've started. We've been working on understanding and knowing where our IT and OT infrastructure is, what its current state of that infrastructure, because before, we had no clue what was connected or not connected. I often heard when I went out to bases that, oh, I'm air gapped. I'm not connected to anything. Well, that turned out not to be the truth. So understanding was the big part of identifying, understanding, and assessing. Our investments. I mean, we have come so far when it comes to what we believe is true from an investment standpoint. If you don't invest, it's not a priority. Well, I'm here to tell you that since FY24, we've had a huge influx of dollars that support this community. And I fought 2 years in a row to get a POM. We have a POM now that signals that we are ready to start doing what we need to do to protect and defend our infrastructure appropriately. So that's yellow and green, because you never have enough money when it comes to fixing vulnerabilities in this space. Visibility and censoring capability. This is huge because once you find out where the systems are located, how they're connected to our mission, then we must continuously monitor those. And so we are working with our partners down at 16th Air Force to be able to determine where to place our sensors and how these sensors will provide that data back so that we have complete visibility. Now, it's a long journey. We're starting already. We have a few installations and few pilots that we've done that help us to do that. And here's where industry can really help. Here's where we need solutions that allow us to now tap into what we need to do from a visibility and censoring capability. And then lastly, our OT ready workforce. We've worked very, very hard to ensure that we have subject matter experts. And these are not just folks who understand the systems. We have our CE, civil engineering community, we have our security community, and you don't find a lot of times where our CE community understands the security side. So we are trying to make sure that we have a ready workforce that understands both sides of the coin. Are we there yet? No, because you see that yellow red, we're just starting. We're just starting to develop courses. Part of our success is we've already developed 3 courses that's been taught at AFIT right now, but we also want to have a cyber defender course. And so we're ready to do that now. And our first course should be ready in November of this year. It takes a lot of time to put together a course because you want to make sure that they understand the system, they have the security pieces of it, they understand what vulnerabilities look like, and so we're well on our way to be able to do that. I talked a little bit about last year our specific DCWF code 462. The Air Force is leading that effort on behalf of the Department of War, and we are probably about 60 to 90 days of getting that finalized. And so that will be the first of many OT related DCWF codes so that we can track our workforce and see what they're doing, what they need, what type of training they need. So you have to identify who they are, understand their limitations and understanding, and then move forward with the rest of our training approach. OT focused red team. You mentioned the National Guard was going to do a workshop here, and we have been working very hard with our partners over at the 175th at Maryland National Guard to be that red team that really supports what we need from this community. We've had lots of zero trust pilots, understanding how do you apply zero trust principles in this space. Not as easy as you think, but we understand that some things apply and some things don't. The hard part is understanding where do we overlay those principles in as we decide to architect and re-architect some of our systems. We are working hard with Cyber to make sure that we levy the requirement. They take care and monitor and defend our IT networks. They should do the same thing for our OT networks and OT systems. And so they have been very gracious in providing some subject matter experts so that we can partner across the communities to be able to do that. Industry Day, a lot of you guys were here when the Air Force helped sponsor and co-host the Industry Day last year, where we looked at, some of the things that Google was doing, Dominion Power, those big industry partners who have been doing this for years. We want to learn. We don't want to start from ground zero to be able to do that. And then the SecWar DCI Task Force. If you're not following that, I suggest you go out and look. That is a good indicator of where we're going as a community, as a department, to be able to do that. And that's the partnership with CISA. Our Crocs organization, Darrell Hagley is not here today, but he's our senior leader that is leading the charge, and we just realigned that. When you have an organization that you're trying to make a priority, you can't bury it in layers of an organization. So we were able to get that moved into a better fit, still within the A4 community, but the significance is it is now recognized as a separate entity. They have their own UMD. For those who know what a UMD is, that's your Manning. They have a POM that I talked about. Now they have Manning. So they are an organization that we're still trying to mature, figure out their authorities and how they actually work across the entire air and space forces. And so that's huge. And then our investment plan. We have a plan that takes us out to FY32 right now that lays in funding to do the things that I've already talked about. And that's significant as well. And we keep surviving the hits of paying some of the corporate bills. And so I'm very excited that the community is getting a lot of investments to do all the things that SegWar needs us to do and the nation needs us to do moving forward. And then also Space Force. If you heard me talk about Space Force, they deploy in place. So when something happens, they don't go anywhere. That means they need that continuous power and water and support from, on-base systems and off-base systems. And so we're working to ensure that we have sensors deployed, that we understand what's happening as we go into a higher state of security. Our plan, this is the four things, this is how we bend our work, right? Knowing the terrain. What we found out is as we are looking at our mission threat analysis and identifying not just our IT systems, but our OT systems, how do they fit into the overall plan of your mission effectiveness? And so understanding and identifying where our hotspots are, what our priorities are, is very important because you can't fix everything. We don't have enough money. But we need to make sure that if we are investing in fixing and mitigating some of these vulnerabilities, that they are the right systems that protect our mission equities. And then you find all those gaps. You make a suggestion to invest in certain technologies and things like that. And one of the things I talked to Daryl and his team about is enterprise solutions. I don't need a lot of one-offs. That's what we have now. And that's why we're in the situation we are. Because if you're looking to upgrade and modernize our systems, we need enterprise solutions. So I'm asking, from an industry perspective, if you have solutions, understand where they fit into our architecture, and then help me fulfill those requirements. And then building our force. I talked a little bit about that, not just CE specialists, not just water specialists. I need cyber and IT and those types of skills in order to be able to do all the things that I've been asked to do. And then lastly, this hasn't changed. If you were here last year, the call to action is still the same. Do the basics. The basics of understanding that you're connected to something, right? Understanding what it means to patch, if you can patch. And if you can't, at least document that risk so that our aggregated risk doesn't outweigh what we need to do for our mission. Partnership and collaborations, events like this, Defend the Airport 2.0, Defend the Rail. All of those types of events signals to the community that we need help from you, the industry partners. And we need partnerships across not just the DOW, but the services, the things that the Army and Navy are doing that I don't have to do because I can just depend on them and then partner and figure out what they've done so that I can take advantage of it as well. We can, information sharing, looking at where we are as a community, looking at the solutions that you're able to provide, and understanding that. A big thing I've been talking about for at least 3 years is when we talk about IT, we must also talk about OT. And we're starting to have a lot of those types of conversations. And accountability, from leadership all the way down to the tactical level of understanding where we need to make decisions about policy, make decisions about investment, and make decisions about mission risk. How do we do that at every level so that we can ensure that there's no mission degradation? Threat-informed investments. I have an intel person on my staff for a reason. I don't just need to know what's going on with my network. I need to know what the adversary is doing on a daily basis when it comes to this community as well. And so I get a lot of reports that come in that talk about this that now can help me, fight for more funding, can fight for different types of policies, fight for training. All of that is very important to helping me tell the story. And then modernization in what type of enterprise solutions, what type of tools and capabilities I need to arm F Cyber to be able to take care of the networks. And I will leave time for questions. Okay. I think I have 5 minutes worth of questions, maybe? Okay, yeah. Maybe 5, 10 minutes.
Okay. Any questions?
Any questions?
And to our online folks, I'm looking at the chat if there's anything. Oh, sorry. Oh, we have a couple now.
Raise your hands up.
Yeah. Hello, Jose Fernandez from Montreal. One of the things that, hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, so one of the questions is, what the question is, obviously IT and OT are different technologies, but also very different communities with different kinds of training. I imagine the Air Force is probably different military trades involved. How are you addressing that culture gap and the difference in languages and priorities and so forth? How are you dealing with that culture challenge?
I mean, and it starts with a lot of conversations. When we partner with 16th Air Force, because they take care of networks, the first thing they said is, well, we don't have any subject matter experts. We don't understand, the community. We don't understand the systems. And so part of that was we sponsored courses at AFIT, where you bring in both communities to be able to have those type of conversations, see what's happening, inclusion in exercises. That's great opportunity to train together, to watch and see what happens in this space. Sharing intel so that they can see what the adversary is doing in this space. Even down to the part of what does the data look like coming off of an HVAC system, right? What is normal behavior look like? And so you have to go through the entire training regiment to answer those types of questions and make sure that there is commonality in language, commonality in understanding, so that we can move forward together.
Quick question for you. First of all, I appreciate your.
Lucian, you don't get any questions.
Just one. No, it's an easy one. You've got some successes you put on the slide there. I think some of those successes could translate over into potential policies for on the civilian side, all of the civilian airports we have in the country. Could we work with your staff and taking some of those lessons and successes and being able to incorporate them into what we put out on the civilian side to the FAA and TSA? I think that would be a real beneficial outcome of this conference.
Oh, absolutely. Information sharing is very important because, this is a big space, right? And we have a lot of one-offs and a lot of challenges that we can't solve by ourselves. So the complexity necessitates a lot of conversations. When I talk about the industry day, we don't need to have a day of industry conversation. It should be a continuous opportunity where Crocs and my office can have different types of conversations. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your presentation, your leadership in this area. So the question I have is, recently the FCC issued a mandate, expanded the covered list for foreign routers, deeming them national security threats, which is something that the cyber community has known for a long time, public less so. So I'm just curious, two things: what you're doing in that area to help accelerate, getting those types of equipment out of the infrastructure of the Air Force, but also looking towards how that could help reinforce this action to get private industry to actually move on the issue?
Yeah, so anytime there's a order, we have to follow it. And our governance process with DCDC over at Fort Meade issues a lot of task, orders to remove, remediate, and things like that. And we follow that as well. When we get to this space, it's hard, right? You just can't pull a piece off a installation. And so it has to be a lot of conversations of what's important inside of this mission, acknowledging the vulnerabilities. If you can't patch it, then how do you now assess the risk to mission? And so we will depend on our subject matter experts at 16th Air Force to be able to help us with that.
Hello.
Oh, sure.
Thank you for your presentation. I've been in critical infrastructure OT for longer than I can remember, 20 plus years. So it's fantastic that the community here is coming together to continue to address it. Today, I work with many small companies that are developing amazing technologies. And so my question on their behalf today is, in the past, there have been programs like Cybers and others. Some of those have done well and others have been somewhat frustrating at times for the small companies. Some of them have been very successful. So we've got to take those. My question is, with the changing landscape, what are the channels to being able to bring these advanced technologies to your desk to make you aware of them, two, try them out, three, if they help for these small companies today?
Yeah, so a couple things. Cybers and sitters are back. They had a pause for a while, and now they're back. DOW has also more touch points in DIB. So if you haven't been following Honorable Davies, she talks about the DIB and some of the things that she wants to do, right? Not just CMMC, but really working with our smalls and mediums to get their technology inserted into our ecosystem. And so I would definitely recommend you reach out to Daryl. I just met with him yesterday, and one of my questions was, where are the enterprise solutions? Because I need to be able to scale across a huge ecosystem, all the bases that we're responsible for, over 180 bases, right? And this is just the Air Force. You have to think about the other services as well. So I would definitely reach out to him. And I'm trying to figure out how to also do a small and medium industry day, not just the bigs, to come in and tell me what your capabilities are. But when you do that, make sure that you know where it fits into our ecosystem and is a dual purpose. Can it fit into our IT networks and OT networks? Okay.
Right.
And great building. Y'all have great
Right.
food too. Yes.
You put my mic on.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Dr. Jones-Heath, we have just two questions here online. Good morning. The Port of Portland hired someone from the U.S. Air Force, newly retired, to lead the cybersecurity program starting in July. The port has airport and marine operations, plus the community surrounding the port facilities. What advice can you provide to the port for our new leader?
First, I would know who are all the players. You name some of those. And I would start by having conversations to level set the understanding of their role and what they need to partner with those particular entities. Airport security is different than marine security, right? And community. Understanding what that airport depends on, what that port depends on, and then I would do a map of who, what, when, and why, and how, and then work through commonalities of how can I secure my piece, which helps you secure your piece, and figure out how you can do some corporate investments together as well.
Okay. Yeah, and make sure that person attends.
Make sure that person
next
attends
year.
the
Exactly.
Defend the Airport 3.
That's right. That's right. All right. Another question. Who can I reach out to get involved with the DCWF OT work role efforts? I'm not sure if I,
Yes.
is that, yeah? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Daryl Hagley.
Daryl
He-
Hagley, yes.
Yes,
I
he worked with a
concur.
lot of community partners, I'm not sure who, but, to kind of craft that, work role. And once that one goes through, we now have a map to bring in the rest of the work roles associated with this community.
Okay. Anybody else in the audience? Okay, we're going to finish with our last question over here. Excuse me, Tom.
I could have done it without the microphone. I have a big voice. For the online people, yes. So Doctor, thank you very much for the presentation. Quick thoughts or your views right now about AI, right? What's from your seat? I know this could be the rest of the day, but just to, AI right now from the front lines.
I think is necessary. We have to get out of our own way and, embrace what AI can do for us. Just think about AI for our cyber operators, right? We have a lot of data. We don't have a data problem, we have a data management problem. And AI can help us do that. When you think about AI enabled SOCs, being able to depend on those type of tools to get through the information, you set your baselines and behaviors, let the AI tool help you find those anomalies, and then the human piece of that is you now take it the rest of the way. But AI can help us jumpstart getting to quicker decisions, understanding what's happening to our systems if we set it up correctly. So I embrace, I'm a technologist by trade, so I embrace new technology. We just need to know what it's doing, train our people to use it effectively, to use it responsibly, and to understand when it's hallucinating as well. So, yeah. No, not problematic. I think Department of Air Force has been very cautious in how we deploy it. This administration is all about technology insertion to include AI. The AI strategy for the national strategy. The Department of Air Force also released maybe a month ago the AI strategy. So if you haven't read that, that would be good. And she just stood up an entire governance infrastructure to kind of shepherd us through some of the things that we think AI could be a multiplier for us. I say go for it. Responsibly, though.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Sit tight for one moment. We actually have a special addition to our agenda for Dr. Jones-Heath.
Here we go. Let me have that podium for a moment. Good morning, everybody. I have the privilege of being the chairman of the board of advisors of the Technology Advancement Center here, and you are most welcome. This is a critical place at a critical time for our industry, and we are blessed to have amongst us many leaders focused on making a difference and making our nation safer and better. One of them, who I met 5 years ago, of course, was our keynote speaker today. And I told her a couple of weeks ago that I was going to not surprise her, but sort of surprise her. And we were going to recognize her from the Military Cyber Professionals Association, which I've had the privilege of being around since 2014. We met 5 years ago at the Carnegie Mellon AI Earliest First Event kickoff by Greg Toohill. Not sure why I was there other than to make the coffee, but it was fun. Wanda has led from day one in everything she's done. If you meet the people who know her, they will tell her great story. Wanda is a member of the Senior Executive Service as the Principal Cyber Advisor for the Department of the Air Force, comprised of the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Space Force. As the Principal Cyber Advisor to the Department of Air Force, her duties include synchronizing, coordinating, and coming and making great speeches like the one this morning, cyber strategy, and advising the Secretary of the Air Force on all cyber programs. She is responsible for overseeing cyberspace recruitment, resourcing and training of cyber mission force, as well as assessing their readiness, overseeing acquisitions, advocating for cyber investments, cybersecurity supply chain, risk management, security of information systems, and weapon systems, all of it. She commands a team directly in some regard of over 5,000 people, and previously was the CISO of the Air Force. What a career, 36 years standing at the line, standing defending the nation, standing making a difference. Wanda exemplifies the very best of leadership in our community. She is a proven leader, innovator, and inspirer in chief, who consistently takes on the complex and difficult issues of our time and delivers with both excellence and integrity. Critical. Her work at the highest levels of the Department of the Air Force reflects not only deeply technical expertise, but also a strategic vision that advances mission outcomes while strengthening the people and culture around her. And that may be the most important part of it all. What distinguishes Wanda most is the way she leads. She approaches difficult problems with clarity, resolve, and an uncommon heart, balancing mission urgency with a genuine commitment to those she serves alongside. And I can speak to that personally. Yeah. Many things we've done together, and I greatly appreciate your opportunity to work with you, Wanda. Her leadership style is grounded in kindness, inclusivity, and empowerment, creating environments where innovation thrives and teams are inspired to perform at their very best. She is actively shaping and implementing the kind of cyber leadership our nation needs: forward-leaning, mission-focused, and values-driven. Wanda represents everything we should seek to recognize and elevate across our community and our nation. And on that note, I would like to present to you the Gold Order of Thor from the Military Cyber Professional. And I have Major General George Franz and my dear friend Harry Wingo too to help me with this. Thank you with this. And there we go. We want to do the photo op now with the general presenting the good award to the wonderful Wanda.